Hi, love story lovers. Imagine you are with your crush. Close, very close, that heartbeats of both are listening to each other. Then you will feel your brain is sharpest. When both halves of a sphere together, they become one, solid and unstoppable. Feel it throughout this story.
In the glittering but lonely empire of Nexlify Tech on a rain-swept Seattle night, January 19, 2025, two souls collided after 15 years of silent, aching, unbreakable love. Time arrived to collide both halves to make a complete unstoppable when heartbeats of both closely listened to each other. A lap rule to save her empire. A lap rule to enhance her beauty and mighty. Elena Voss, a stunning 35, though she could easily pass for 25, was the undisputed queen of Silicon Valley. Tonight, however, she wasn't a queen. She was a woman curled in her corner office chair, shivering, but not from the chill seeping through the floor-to-ceiling windows. This was a shiver of pure terror, a cold dread that felt like knives twisting in her lungs. Someone inside her own company, her fortress, has stolen her crown jewels. The unreleased AI core dataset, the very soul of Nexlify Tech, had been compromised. Fragments of her life's work were already powering a rival's billion-dollar launch. If the board found out, it would all be over. Everything she had built, everything she had sacrificed for, would vanish like smoke. She had built this empire alone. Her parents were taken from her far too soon. She had no siblings to lean on. The friends she once had vanished long ago, buried under the immense weight of her ambition. The isolation she lived in was a hollow, silent scream she never allowed herself to release. Now, in the face of ruin, the dam finally broke. Hot tears burned paths down her face as she whispered to the empty, cavernous room, her voice a fragile, broken thing. I can't lose it all. Not after everything I've sacrificed. Please God, not this. Just then, a figure appeared at the glass door. It was Marcus, a handsome young man of 24, his cleaning mop forgotten, his heart shattering at the sight of her raw, unguarded pain. He had loved her since he was a boy of 12, a silent, devoted love that had followed him through every mission in shadowed rooms, every near-death moment. Her name was the only light he carried in his dark world. Elena. His voice broke, raw and ragged, his own tears already falling, mirroring hers. God, Elena, you're breaking me apart. Please, don't carry this alone. Let me in. I'm begging you. I can't watch you hurt like this. She lifted her head, her expression a mixture of shock and devastation. Her voice was small, barely a whisper. You don't even know me. I've known you my whole damn life, he choked out, stepping fully into the light of her office, his own tears streaming unchecked down his face. His confession tumbled out, a torrent of suppressed emotion. I left wildflowers on your porch because I didn't know how else to say it, to say I see you, that I love you. I've always loved you, and watching you break right now is killing me. Let me help. Please. Fresh tears spilled from her eyes, but these felt different. Something ancient and frozen inside her cracked open, a surge of warmth after years of ice. She looked at this young man, this stranger who claimed to know her soul, and saw a desperate sincerity she hadn't encountered in years. 20 minutes, she whispered, her voice cracking with the effort. That's all I can give. He took the laptop from her desk. As he did, their fingers brushed. A sob caught in her throat at the simple contact. It was like lightning after decades of darkness, a jolt that reminded her she was still alive, still capable of feeling something other than pressure and pain. He vanished into the adjoining conference room. The longest 20 minutes of Elena's life ticked by. When he returned, he placed the laptop back on her desk. His eyes, still wet with tears, were pleading, his voice thick with emotion. Do this. Trust me, please. Trust me with your world. She stared at the screen, at the lines of code he had written, at the solution he presented. It was audacious, brilliant, and utterly terrifying. But looking into his eyes, she felt a flicker of something she thought was long dead. Hope. She did it. She trusted him. By dawn, the rival company was in ashes. Their launch was a catastrophic failure, their stolen data rendered useless. Their systems crippled. Nexlify lived. The Empire was safe. Elena stared at Marcus across the now empty boardroom as the first light of morning painted the Seattle skyline. The tears streamed down her face again, but this time they were tears of relief, of disbelief, of profound wonder. "Who are you, really?" she asked, her voice filled with awe. He stepped closer, closing the distance between them until he was just a breath away. His own voice broke as he finally spoke the truth that had defined his life. "I'm the boy who never stopped loving you, and I swear on every breath I have left, I'm never leaving you again." That very day, she promoted him. The official title was personal assistant, then head of special projects. Soon, he was joint director of Nexlify Tech. To the outside world, it looked like a fairy tale, a meteoric rise fueled by a whirlwind romance. A Cinderella story for the digital age, but only they knew the truth. Only they knew the depth of the bond that had been forged in silence, in shadows, and in 15 years of unspoken longing that had finally, explosively, been given a voice. Their connection was more than just love, it was symbiotic. Marcus's gift, or perhaps his curse, was that his love for her unlocked something almost divine within him. When Elena was near, when she was in his arms, her head resting on his chest, her heartbeat a steady rhythm against his mind became a blade of pure, unparalleled clarity. Complex codes sang to him in perfect harmony. Intricate corporate threats dissolved into simple, solvable puzzles. Solutions to impossible problems crystallized in his mind like miracles. She was his anchor in the swirling chaos of his past. She was his fire, igniting a brilliance he never knew he possessed. She was his everything. And he, in turn, became her shield, her confidant, her secret weapon. Together, they were more than the sum of their parts. They were an unbreakable force, two halves of a single soul, finally reunited after a lifetime of waiting. The queen had found her king, not in a boardroom, but in the heart of a boy who had loved her from the shadows all along. And their reign was just beginning. Tokyo, February 2025. In the penthouse of the Peninsula Hotel, the city spreads out below, a glittering living circuit of neon and raw ambition. But inside this glass palace, the air is thick, suffocating. A $20-8 billion hostile takeover bid has just crashed down, sent from a powerful Chinese consortium. It's a corporate missile aimed right at the heart of her empire, and the board is already starting to fracture. Some whisper of surrender, while others, driven by panic, are secretly selling off their shares. Elena paces the length of the room. A silk of her pajamas clings to her body, outlining every tremble. The phone is pressed hard against her ear. And her voice, usually so commanding, is splintering into a million pieces. "They're going to take it all, Marcus. Everything I'd bled for. Every single sleepless night. Every sacrifice I ever made, it's all going to be gone. I can't breathe, I can't lose you and this too." He crosses the vast room in just 3 long strides. He gently takes the phone from her shaking hand and ends the call without a word. "Elena, look at me." His voice is a low crackle, thick with his own brand of desperation. "I'm here. I'm right here with you. Don't you dare fall apart without me. I won't let you." Tears she didn't even know she was holding back streamed down her face, hot and fast. "I'm terrified," she admits, her voice shrinking, becoming small and broken. "I've never been this scared in my entire life. Not even when I started this company completely alone with nothing, because now I have something to lose. I have you." He sinks into the oversized leather desk chair, a throne she usually occupies. He pulls her onto his lap, her back pressed firmly against his chest, her legs draped over his thighs. His arms wrap around her, a shield of muscle and warmth, like armor against the coming storm. "Stay with me," he begs, and his voice is now thick with unshed tears. "Right here. Can you feel my heartbeat? Let me carry this with you. Promise me you won't ever carry something like this alone again. She just melts against him, her body surrendering to his strength. Her head falls back onto his shoulder, and her fingers clutch his forearm like he's the only solid thing in a world that is dissolving around her. I don't deserve you, she whispers, the words barely audible, her tears soaking the fabric of his shirt. I've been so alone for so long. I think I forgot what it felt like to just be held. You deserve everything, he answers, his voice fierce, cracking with the sheer force of his emotion. And I'm going to give it to you. Every piece of me, every breath I take. Every beat of my heart. I love you so much it physically hurts. Then, he begins to code. One arm stays wrapped securely around her waist, holding her to him, while the other hand flies across the keyboard with a speed that defies belief. He's building a digital fortress. Zero knowledge proofs. On-chain locks. An impenetrable wall of code designed to protect everything she's built. The pressure is immense. Every time a flicker of doubt claws at him, she feels it, a subtle tightening in his shoulders, a slight catch in his breath. She turns her face, her lips finding the sharp line of his jaw. She kisses him, a soft, trembling touch that speaks volumes. You're stronger than this, she whispers against his skin, her breath warm. You're stronger than anything they can throw at us. I believe in you. I love you. Don't you dare stop now. Her words hit him like salvation. His breath hitches in his chest. He pauses his frantic typing, but only for a moment, just long enough to press his lips to her temple, his own tears finally falling, disappearing into her hair. I love you more than life itself, he chokes out, his voice raw with a love that's been held back for far too long. And because of you, I can see the way through this. You make me unstoppable. The heat between them, the press of her thighs against his, her soft breath on his neck, the subtle shifts of her body as she holds him, it ignites something deep and sacred. His focus sharpens, his code becoming a thing of brutal perfection. Every line is a counterattack, every algorithm a shield. At exactly 4:47 in the morning, with the first hint of dawn still hours away, he hits the enter key. A single decisive strike. The hostile bit dies, instantly, utterly. Silence descends upon the penthouse. A profound echoing silence where chaos had just been screaming. Then, slowly, Elena turns in his lap. She straddles him, bringing them face to face, forehead pressed against forehead. The dam breaks. Tears pour from both of them, not of fear anymore, but of overwhelming bone-deep relief. You saved me again, she sobs, her body shaking with the release of tension. How do I ever repay that? How do I even begin to tell you what you mean to me? He cups her face in his hands, his thumbs gently wiping away her tears, his own gaze raw and open. Love me, he begs, his voice stripped of all pretense. Just love me like I've loved you since I was 12 years old. Don't ever let go. That's all I've ever wanted. Just you, forever. She kisses him then, a desperate soul-deep kiss that tastes of salt and relief and the promise of a new beginning. I'm never letting go, she cries against his mouth, her words muffled by the kiss. You're my home, my miracle, my everything. I love you so much it hurts to breathe without you. They kiss until the sunrise finally breaks over the Tokyo skyline, flooding the room in shimmering gold. Two broken people, finally made whole, held together in the dawn of a new day they almost didn't have. Davos, January 2026. Picture it, the World Economic Forum. Surrounded by the snow-dusted Alps. Inside the Congress Center, world leaders are discussing the future. But beneath a nearby luxury hotel, in a basement server room, 42 hours of pure hell are about to unfold for one young man. A sophisticated nation-state supply chain attack has been launched. And the data of 400 million users is hanging in the balance. Our story centers on Marcus, a brilliant 25-year-old cybersecurity expert. He's locked in this server room, the only light coming from the dozens of screens flashing red alerts. The air is thick with the smell of ozone and burnt coffee. For nearly 2 days, his world has shrunk to this cold, sterile box. His fingers fly across multiple keyboards, a blur of motion, trying to patch, rebuild, and fight back against an invisible, relentless enemy. But he's not alone. Elena refused to leave his side. When the lockdown protocols were initiated, she had a choice: evacuate to safety or stay with him. She chose him. For most of those 42 hours, she sat on his lap, wrapped in his oversized jacket for warmth. Her head rested on his shoulder, her arms wrapped tightly around his neck, a silent, unshakable anchor in the storm. Marcus was pushed to the absolute limit of his physical and mental endurance. Every time exhaustion threatened to pull him under, every time a flicker of doubt crept into his mind, telling him this was an impossible fight, Elena was there. She would press a soft kiss to his jaw, her breath warm against his skin, and whisper, "You've got this, my love. You always do. I'm right here. Feel me, I'm not going anywhere." Her presence was more than just comfort, it was fuel. Her warmth seeped into his bones, chasing away the chill of the server room and the deeper chill of fear. He could feel her quiet, steady tears landing on his collarbone, a testament to her own fear for him, for them, for everything. Her fingers would gently trace patterns on his chest, a simple, rounding touch that transformed his bone-deep fatigue into a roaring fire of determination. Fueled by her unwavering belief in him, Marcus did the impossible. He fought back against the unseen attackers, his mind a whirlwind of code and strategy. He painstakingly rebuilt their digital fortress, all 412 layers of its complex distributed architecture. He was a digital warrior, and she was his shield, his reason, his home in the heart of the battle. He wasn't just saving a company or protecting data. He was protecting their future. Finally, after 42 agonizing hours, the last line of malicious code was purged. The final patch was deployed. The system stabilized. The screens in front of him slowly turned from a sea of angry red to a calming, reassuring green. It was over. He had won. When the security seals on the server room door hissed open, Marcus stumbled out into the hotel corridor. He was a wreck. Unshaven, his eyes bloodshot and raw, his body aching with an exhaustion so profound it felt like a physical weight. But he was standing. He was victorious. The moment Elena saw him, she didn't run to hug him. She simply dropped to her knees in the middle of the hallway. A wave of overwhelming relief and emotion crashing over her. She wrapped her arms around his waist, buried her face against his stomach, and sobbed. The kind of sobs that come from the deepest part of the soul, releasing all the terror and tension she had held inside for 2 days. Through her tears, she whispered words that were meant only for him, words that would redefine their entire world. "You saved everything," she cried, her voice muffled against his shirt. "You saved me. I don't know how to live without you anymore." In that moment, in the quiet corridor of a luxury hotel in Davos, surrounded by the silent aftermath of a global crisis, their love story was forged in fire and cemented in vulnerability. He looked down at her. This incredible woman who has stayed with him through the darkest hours of his life. With a strength he didn't know he still possessed, he gently lifted her into his arms. He carried her down the hall, away from the server room, away from the crisis, back to their suite, their sanctuary. For the next 2 days, they didn't leave the bed. The world outside, the forum, the news reports, none of it mattered. They simply existed for each other. They made love with a desperation and tenderness that spoke of near loss and profound rediscovery. They whispered every fear they had held back, every dream they had for the future. They healed each other with every touch, every shared glance, every tearful, heartfelt, "I love you." This isn't just a story about a cyber addict. It's a story about human connection at its most powerful. It is about how love can be the ultimate source of strength in the face of impossible odds. It shows that sometimes, the greatest acts of heroism aren't just about saving the world, but about having someone who believes you can, even when you doubt yourself. And about knowing, without a single doubt, that you would do it all again. Just for them. Singapore, December 2025. The city hums with a futuristic pulse, a symphony of light and ambition. High above it all, at the edge of the world, the Marina Bay Sands infinity pool shimmers under a starless sky. Midnight. The air, usually thick with celebration, is now heavy, charged with the bitter sting of betrayal. This is where her world shattered. Elena, a woman who commanded empires and moved markets with a single word, now feels utterly broken. Her face, a masterpiece that could rival any celestial beauty, is streaked with tears. The traitor wasn't some shadowy rival or a faceless corporate enemy. It was her own chief security officer, the man she had trusted with her secrets, with her life. The revelation struck her not like a blow, but like a slow, twisting knife in her soul. Her sobs are ragged, desperate gasps for air that her lungs refuse to take. She's drowning, not in the crystalline water of the pool, but in the overwhelming flood of deceit. It's a pain so profound, it eclipses everything she has ever known. Then, strong arms encircle her. Marcus. He pulls her tight against his chest, his warmth a fragile shield against the cold night and colder reality. He's younger, just 24, with a sharp, handsome face that usually holds a playful spark. But tonight it's etched with a fierce, protective sorrow. He holds her, rocking her gently, like a frightened child woken from a nightmare. "I've got you," he whispers, his voice raw, breaking on the words. He presses his lips to her hair, inhaling the scent of her shampoo mixed with the salty tang of her tears. "I've always got you." His promise hangs in the air, a sacred vow. "No one will ever hurt you again. I swear it on my life." Elena clings to him, her fingers digging into the fabric of his shirt. He is her only anchor in this maelstrom. The man who has stood by her side, not as an employee, but as a shadow, a guardian, her silent protector. The one who saw past the power and the prestige to the woman beneath. Later, the storm of her initial grief subsides, leaving behind a chilling calm. They are in the secure suite, a fortress of glass and steel overlooking the glittering city. But the real fortress is being built in the digital realm. Marcus's fingers fly across a holographic keyboard, his movements a blur of focused intensity. Lines of code stream across the display, weaving a digital cage around the traitor. Every account, every asset, every escape route sealed. It's a masterpiece of technological warfare, executed with cold, swift precision. Elena watches him, a silent observer to his silent fury. The betrayal had wounded her, but it had enraged him. He works with a lethal grace, every command a nail in the traitor's coffin. When the final line of code locks into place, the digital prison is complete. The traitor is now a ghost, erased from the world he thought he could manipulate. Marcus turns from the console, the faint blue light of the interface glinting in his eyes. He looks at Elena, his expression softening. Without a word, he pulls her onto his lap. She settles naturally, her thighs straddling his, her arms winding around his neck as she buries her face against his shoulder. Her silent tears, once hot with grief, now fall cool against his collarbone. They are not tears of sadness anymore, but of a quiet, burning rage finding its release. Each tear that touches his skin fuels his resolve. Her pain sharpens his focus, turning his simmering anger into a plan of flawless execution. He holds her, a silent promise passing between them. He will be her vengeance. He will be her shield. The traitor thought he had broken the queen, but he had only unleashed the dragon guarding her throne. By the time the first rays of dawn paint the Singaporean sky in hues of orange and pink, it is done. The traitor is gone. Not just digitally erased, but physically vanished. No trace, no loose ends, no questions asked. Just a clean, silent removal from the face of the earth. Marcus had made a promise, and he has sealed it with an act of absolute finality. In the days that follow, a new dynamic forms between them. The professional lines have not just blurred. They have been incinerated. He is no longer just her subordinate. He is her partner, her confidant, her weapon. He moves into her penthouse, his presence a constant, reassuring weight in her life. He sleeps on the couch in her living room, a self-appointed sentinel just outside her bedroom door. One night, she finds him staring out at the city lights, a glass of whiskey in his hand. The tension in his shoulders tells her he's reliving that night, the moment he almost lost her. "You don't have to do this," she says softly, her voice barely a whisper. "You don't have to guard me." He turns, his eyes dark and serious. "I'm not guarding you, Elena. I'm staying with you." "There is a difference." He takes a step closer. "I told you I'd always have you. I meant it." The space between them crackles with unspoken emotions. Years of suppressed feelings, of stolen glances and carefully measured words, are now bubbling to the surface. She sees it in his eyes, the same fierce devotion that drove him to eliminate a threat without hesitation. It's a devotion that borders on obsession, a love that is both terrifying and exhilarating. She reaches out, her fingers tracing the line of his jaw. "What do you want, Marcus?" His gaze drops to her lips. "I want you to be safe. I want you to be happy." He pauses, his voice dropping lower. "And I want you." The confession hangs in the air, simple, direct, and earth-shattering. For Elena, who has built her life on control and calculation, this is uncharted territory. Trusting someone again feels impossible, but Marcus isn't just someone. He is the one who held her when she shattered, the one who pieced her back together with his unwavering loyalty. She leans in, and their lips meet for the first time. It's not a kiss of passion, but of raw, desperate need. It as a collision of two souls who have found their other half in the ashes of betrayal. It's the sealing of a new pact, one written not in contracts or code, but in blood, tears, and a love that promises to conquer all. His arms wrap around her waist, pulling her flush against him. Her hands tangle in his hair, drawing him closer. The world outside, with its corporate wars and hidden dangers, fades away. In this moment, there is only them. The kiss deepens, becoming a fiery expression of everything they've held back. His love for her is a powerful, untamed force, and she finds herself willingly surrendering to it. She realizes that the betrayal, as painful as it was a necessary fire. It burned away the old world, the old rules, and the old Elena. From the ashes, something new is rising. A partnership forged in loyalty, an empire to be rebuilt, and a love story that began with a broken promise and was rewritten with a vow sworn on a life. As the sun rises on another day in Singapore, Elena looks at Marcus, who now sleeps beside her, his arm draped protectively over her. She is no longer the woman who sobbed by the infinity pool. She is stronger, fiercer, and for the first time in a long time she is not alone. The traitor tried to take her kingdom, but in doing so, he gave her the one thing she never knew she needed, a king to rule beside her. And together, they would be unstoppable. Their world felt sacred on weekends and in hotel rooms, a universe built just for two. Friday nights were reserved for the hidden cabin on the Olympic Peninsula, a sanctuary away from everything else. Marcus would cook, always barefoot, with his sleeves rolled up, a focused calm in his movements. Elena would sit on the counter, wrapped in one of his oversized shirts, just watching him. It was as if time itself had slowed down, each moment a perfectly framed memory. The world outside would fade away, leaving only the soft sounds of the kitchen and the steady beat of their hearts. When inspiration would strike, as it often did, he'd pull her onto his lap at the old wooden table. The laptop would cast a warm glow on their faces, and her presence, the simple warmth of her body against his, had a magical effect. It was like her nearness transformed cold logic into pure poetry. The words would just flow, effortlessly. She'd lean in, press a soft kiss to his temple, and whisper, "I love you." And the work would move forward, feeling less like a task and more like a quiet prayer. Their travels turned hotel nights into a form of devotion. In Paris, the city lights shimmered behind the floor-to-ceiling glass, a dazzling backdrop to their private world. His discarded tie became a playful blindfold as he fed her sweet strawberries, her laughter echoing against the window pane as the city lights reflected in her eyes. Their joy felt as bright and boundless as Paris itself. Then came Santorini, an island of blue and white magic. They swam in the dark, cool water at midnight, the moon painting silver streaks on their skin. The sea was their witness, holding their whispered vows and promises in its gentle waves. As dawn broke, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, she would trace the faint lines of his old scars, tears welling in her eyes. She'd cry softly, not from sadness, but from a profound sense of relief and gratitude, promising him and herself that they would never have to face the world alone again. Rio de Janeiro greeted them with an enveloping warmth at the Fairmont Copacabana penthouse. The rhythm of the waves crashing on the shore seemed to answer every beat of their hearts. The air in the bathroom was thick with the scent of jasmine steam. Afterwards, she'd settle onto his lap at the desk, her silk robe falling loosely around her, their fingers entwining over the keyboard as they worked. The ocean's steady rhythm guided their breathing, a natural metronome for their thoughts. His kiss at the nape of her neck was an anchor, steadying every thought, bringing a clarity that came without any effort at all. Later, tangled beneath pale, soft sheets, they moved together. At first, slow and tender, then with an urgency born from years of waiting. Tears of pure joy fell from his eyes as he held her, telling her how every shadowed year of his past had been quietly, patiently waiting for her to arrive. He confessed that he never knew a love like this could exist, a love that healed and completed him in ways he never thought possible. New York City was a whirlwind of roses and steam. After a long, hot bath, she would once again settle onto his lap, her presence a grounding force as they reviewed contracts together. With her there, every choice felt right, every decision became a certainty. She was his compass, his true north, and with her by his side, he felt invincible. Every single one of these nights, no matter where they were in the world, ended the same beautiful way. Elena would curl up against his chest, her head resting in the perfect spot over his heart. He would run his fingers through her hair, a soothing, repetitive motion that spoke volumes. Then, he would whisper the ancient, sacred words, Ani ledidi vi dodi li, I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. She would lift her head just enough to kiss the pulse at his throat, a small, intimate gesture that was just for them. A soft smile would touch her lips as she replied, You're my miracle. My forever. Never, ever doubt that. And in that small, protected space, they found their forever, again and again. January 19, 2026. Exactly 1 year since that first rainy night. A private jet slices through a sea of white clouds, a silver arrow against the endless blue. Inside, the world outside fades away. It's just them. Elena, stunning at 30, her eyes deep with a love that has waited a lifetime, straddles Marcus in the plush leather seat. At 24, his youthful handsomeness is now tinged with a maturity born of secrets and survival. She kisses him, a kiss that's desperate and demanding, a kiss that says a year of waiting has been an eternity. She pulls back just enough to speak, their breaths mingling in the quiet cabin. Tell me everything, she begs, her voice a raw whisper. No more shadows, Marcus. No more half-truths. I need all of you. He looks at her, and the carefully constructed walls he's lived behind for so long begin to crumble. He takes a deep, shaky breath and the story spills out. His voice, usually so steady, breaks as he speaks. He starts with the simple things, the memories that feel like a lifetime ago. He talks about wildflowers, the vibrant colors of a childhood he barely remembers. A fleeting moment of peace before the world turned gray. He describes the stark, windowless rooms of Unit 8200. The hum of servers a constant companion, the glow of screens the only light he knew for years. The missions, the ones that still haunt his sleep, waking him in a cold sweat, screaming into the darkness. He talks about the enemies he made, ghosts with faces he can never forget. Men who would kill to find him, to silence the secrets he carries. Tears stream down his face, hot and unchecked. The dam has broken. I hid who I was to keep you safe, he chokes out, the words raw with pain and regret. Every lie, every evasion. It was to protect you, but I can't do it anymore. I can't hide anymore, not from you. He's vulnerable, completely exposed, the soldier stripped of his armor, leaving only the man who has loved her from the shadows. Elena's own tears fall, mirroring his. She reaches up, her hands cupping his face, her touch a gentle anchor in his storm. Her gaze is fierce, unwavering. Then let them come, she whispers, her voice steel and silk. Let them all come. She leans closer, her forehead touching his. I have you. That's all that matters. I have the boy who loved me unseen from across a crowded room, and I have the man who blooms whenever I'm in your arms. Do you understand? I love you more than empires, more than power, more than the very air I breathe. You're my home, Marcus. In that moment, suspended between the heavens and the earth, everything changes. The secrets that once threatened to tear them apart have now forged a bond stronger than steel. His past is no longer a shadow lurking in the corners. It's a part of the man she loves, a testament to his strength and his sacrifice. The morning sun breaks through the clouds as they descend, a new day for a new beginning. She doesn't hesitate. The next morning, she makes him joint director of her empire. She signs over half her shares, a fortune beyond imagination. But it's more than just a title, more than just wealth. It's a declaration. She gives him all of her soul, an equal partner in life, in love, and in the battles they will now face together. The boy from the shadows now stands in a light, not behind her, but beside her, ready to build their future, one sunrise at a time. The rain against the window pane. It sounds just like it did that first night. A soft, steady rhythm against the glass of the Seattle penthouse, a world away from where it all began. But tonight, there are no shadows lurking, no threats breathing down our necks. There's just the city lights, blurred by the rain, and the warmth of his arms around me. I lean back against him. The soft cotton of his shirt the only thing between us. His hands rest on my waist, a familiar possessive heat that stills the last lingering ghosts of my past. He traces the line of my shoulder with his lips, finding the tiny, almost invisible scar there, a remnant of a life I barely recognize anymore. A life before him. His voice is a low whisper, a vibration against my skin that I feel all the way to my soul. Life isn't life without you, my love, he murmurs. I'd walk through every hell again just to hold you like this. Every hell, and we've walked through more than our fair share. The words bring a fresh wave of emotion, so powerful it almost knocks me off my feet. I turn in his arms, needing to see his face. The face of the man who tore down my walls, who faced down my demons, who taught me how to breathe again. My hands find his cheeks, cupping his face, and I see my own reflection in his dark, intense eyes. Tears, not of sorrow but of a joy so profound it hurts, slide down my cheeks. My voice is thick, choked with the love that fills this room, that fills my entire world. And empires mean nothing, I tell him, my thumb stroking his skin, if I wake up every morning without your arms around me. You're my miracle, Marcus, my forever. I lean in, my words a promise against his lips. Don't you dare ever doubt how deeply, how completely I love you. He doesn't need to answer. The answer is in the way he looks at me, in the way his hands tighten on my waist, pulling me closer until there's no space left between us. This is our language, one spoken not in words, but in shared breaths and silent understanding. A language forged in danger and sealed in devotion. I take his hand, my fingers lacing through his. There's no rush, no urgency. We have all the time in the world now. I lead him away from the window, away from the city and its million distant stories, and toward our own. Toward the bed, where the sheets are cool and the promise of a shared future is warm and real. Every step is slow, deliberate, almost reverent. This isn't just about tonight. It's about every night that came before and every night that will come after. It's about celebrating a victory that once seemed impossible. Some love stories, they say, are written in the stars. Ours was written in the shadows. It was penned in coded messages and desperate whispers across continents. It was carved out of fear and defiance, in stolen moments that felt like a lifetime. It was written in the sacred space of a dark room where my body on his lap was not a surrender, but a declaration of war against the world that tried to keep us apart. It was in that space that loneliness died, and forever was born. And that story is far from over. It's not a memory, a chapter that has closed. It's a living, breathing thing. It's still being written, every single day. In the rhythm of our heartbeats, so perfectly in sync. In every shared breath as we lie tangled together. In every stolen night, in every new city we find ourselves in, building a life that is solely ours. The rain continues to fall outside, washing the world clean. But in here, there is only the quiet certainty of a love that was fought for, a love that was won, and a love that will endure forever. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. We have so many more stories to tell.